Welcome to Conversation with Heaven, Part 2 on Anxiety, Video 2. Today we will talk about how to build peace from within, how to cultivate self-love, and how faith sustains us. As I mentioned in Video 1 on Anxiety, remember that this is a conversation among friends. What I share with you here is based on what I have read, my own personal experience, documentaries, practice, and so forth. I would like to begin with the words of Reid leader, a man of 101 years old, President Russell M. Nelson. In the September 25 issue of Time magazine described a wonderful way to eliminate anxiety. I believe that we are all children of a loving Heavenly Father, but regardless of your religion or spirituality, recognizing the fundamental truth that underlies this belief, the fact that we all deserve dignity, proves liberating. It brings emotional, mental, and spiritual balance, and the more you embrace it, the more your anxiety and fear regarding the future will diminish. Life can be frightening, and I have seen many people, especially young people, struggle with anxiety, wondering if they truly fit in or if they process any word. However, I heard that knows in its slot and remains centered on its purpose beats with steadiness, confidence, and hope, no matter what is happening or feeling to happen in life. Second, love your neighbor and treat them with compassion and respect. A century of experience has taught me this with certainty. Anger never persuades, hostility never heals, and contention never leads to lasting solutions. Much of today's public discourse, especially online, foster enmity rather than empathy. Close the quote. What does peace mean? Peace is a state of tranquility, harmony, and inner or collective well-being, more than just the absence of conflict. It implies inner calm, emotional balance, healthy relationships, a sense of security and hope, unity, and respect. In Latin, writing past PAX, the meaning is agreement, reconciliation, tranquility, cessation of hostilities, and security. In Hebrew, the word peace say shalom. Do you remember this word in different religions? Shalom is peace, integrity, completeness, hostility, well-being, physical, emotional, and spiritual. In Greek, script this peace Eirene, Eirene. The meaning is order, unity, stillness, peace that comes from the divine. In the Christian faith, peace is but a gift and inner guide, the peace that surpasses all understand. Is biblical theological framework. What are self-love and peace without confusing them with narcissism? The healthy versions: self-appreciation, self-care, boundaries, alignment with one's values without a sense of superiority. The curriculum of the current clinical approach, self-compassion, according to Kristin Neff, There are 3 practical components: self-kindness, being gently with oneself; 2. Common humanity, recognizing one's shared human experience and compassion; 3. Mindfulness, always remaining accurate in the present, enjoying your present moment. This prevents you from dwelling on the past or the future, or from being consumed by worry. Presence without overriding. Evidence links self-compassion to reduce anxiety, stress, and perfectionism, as well as increasing resilience and life satisfaction, in addition to having regulatory, psychological, or physiological effects. Speaking to myself as I go to my best friend, Reid, observing my present reality without running away from it. For instance, noticing the things around me, savoring the air I breathe, learning to listen without getting fixated on any specific noise, not fleeing from my present, but rather seeking to understand it, being fully here and now. Self-love in action, behavioral self-esteem. Natalie Brandon said, healthy self-esteem, self-efficacy. For example, I am capable of handling life. Or self-worth. For example, I am worthy of happiness. It is cultivated through these practices. She mentioned conscious living, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, self-assertiveness, reminding myself of my worth, my dignity, my qualities, my identity, and my life's purpose. Personally, I am working on this by applying the knowledge that I am daughter of God, that I possess divine worth, that I have a heavenly Father and a heavenly Mother, and that I had found my purpose in my patriarchal blessing, among other things. Integrity, learning to respect myself more and being more honest and truthful with myself. Regarding the relationships with Stein, Carl Rogers say, acclimated of not judgmental acceptance fosters self-awareness, a sense of one's own worth and personal growth. This is considered a universal necessity for healthy development. Surround yourself with connections where you do not have to earn affection. This is true wisdom. Sometimes people seek to be with others solely to be loved or to beg for favors or affection. No. You are the one who gives yourself affection and love, and others perceive this and expect you for it. People love you for who you are. You do not have to say, look, I wash the dishes for you, but in exchange, you must give me affection. No. Or, I'll do whatever you ask, provided you give me love and affection. No. Or, I'll tell a lie just to receive a caress or some affection. No, that could only generate more anxiety and fear. You will not be true to yourself. You need to be with people who are kind, just like you, affectionate, just like you, on the same spiritual stature, just like you, and of kind moral character, people who respect you even when you may feel that you lack worth. Such people will love you and affirm your value above all also. Things even regarding your mistakes or weaknesses. That is what it means to surround yourself with good people. People who make you feel better without you having to give anything in return or pretend to be someone else, and so on. That is why it is good to spend more time with yourself rather than always being around other people. Well, I am referring to single people here, more married couples. They are more established, or at least they are supposed to be. The practical arm or self-love, self-care. The ability to maintain your health and cope with distress, whether you are alone or with others. It involves sleeping well, eating healthily, exercising or engaging in physical movement toward your muscles, knowing how to manage stress and anxiety, cultivating deep gratitude, and learning to set healthy boundaries without becoming insulated due to overly rigid limits, while maintaining social connection through church, clubs, school, etc. Simple rule: sleep, move, nourish, connect, give thanks. Give thanks, 5 icons. Quick tip: when anxiety strikes, pause, stop, breathe, speak kindly to yourself, take a micro step. Self-love is not ego, it is health. Evidence links it to lower anxiety levels and greater resilience. Practice it across 3 layers. 1. Internal dialogue. Transform every self-criticism into the voice of a wise friend. 2. I must speak to myself with kindness and self-compassion. 3. Acting in alignment with my values constitutes my behavioral self-esteem. I must take charge of my own health. I am responsible for it. I should not delegate my responsibilities to others, though I can seek help to learn how to fulfill them. As Carl Rogers says, surround yourself with acceptance, and remember, what would you do for your best friend or a loved one? Do that for yourself. Do that for yourself. That is where peace begins. In the Bible, in Kings 17, a prophet named Elijah warning the people that a famine was coming. No rain fell, and the crops failed to grow. Elijah drank water from a brook. God sent bears to bring him food, but eventually the brook dried up. God told Elijah to seek out a woman in the town and that she would provide him with food. Elijah found the woman and asked her for something to eat. The woman told him that she had only a little flour and oil, just enough to feed herself and her son. Elijah promised her that if she shared her food with him, it would never run out. The widow placed her faith in the prophet Elijah and shared her meal. Every day, there was enough food for them to eat. It was a miracle. Later, the widow's son fell ill and died, but Elijah restored him to life. The woman was blessed for hearing the prophet. In the same way, we must apply to our fear and anxiety the very things we know will bring us greater peace. Faith is action, not merely listen. In conclusion, peace, self-love, and faith, in my own experience, constitute a constant practice for overcoming or managing anxiety and fear. They are habits, they are a lifestyle requiring consistency. Of course, it is not easy. However, my aim is to ensure that you do not feel sorrow over the vulnerability that anxiety brings. Do not fear the fear itself. Confront it through your habits. You can start with just one today. How does that sound? You must clearly understand that these struggles are part of the opposition inherent in life, the opposition to calm and serenity. Yet, I believe it is well beneficial to have a tool at hand to cope with anxiety or fear. There are people with asthma who keep their inhaler close by as a matter of habit. Likewise, those living with lifelong condition become accustomed to taking their medication at a specific time each day. And then there are those schools or on initiative offer a prayer of gratitude and blessing the moment we were in the morning, setting the tone for the day ahead. It occurs to me that this is exactly how we should approach fear or anxiety. By keeping tools close at hand to help us during those moments of greatest distress. It isn't easy, but it becomes easier if I equip my fear, my anxiety, with positive tools. For some people, running or exercising serves as such at all. Others find solace in listening to calming, peaceful classical music. I remember a neighbor who loved cleaning her home and keeping it tidy and impeccably, simply seeking out little details to spruce it up would soothe her anxiety. Others prefer to focus on self-care, eating healthy, warming, and so on. Breathing exercise like pranayama, yoga nidra, or whatever style of yoga you prefer. Writing, read the scriptures, acts of service, meditation, and mindfulness can also be helpful. The key is to choose healthy, non-toxic tools, ones that don't generate more anxiety, but rather do the exact opposite, heal it. Personally, I also find that talking with my therapist helps me a great deal. How about we try to make anxiety happy? Yes, how about we try to make anxiety happy? Let's try to make it loud with some wholesome jokes and let's avoid talking of fears or anxiety attacks too seriously. Keeping healthy tools close by and constantly learning which ones work best for you or for me is crucial. But remember, we are all different. Never compare yourself to anyone else. That is a huge mistake. You are unique. You are unlike anyone else. You possess your own talents, gifts, and blessings, provided you learn to seek them out in a healthy way. And if we find we cannot manage on our own, let us be humble enough to seek help. It is always important to address whatever is causing you discomfort. Just as you would immediately scratch and itch the moment you feel it, right? Or like when you have a pebble in your shoe, you stop and take it out, right? When you get thirsty, you seek a water, right? That's exactly how we must deal with fear and anxiety, by attending to them, never ignoring them, as that could only make the situation worse. Well, I'll see you in the third video of this series on anxiety, which is, after all, a form of fear. I won't just provide a summary. I will also share more of my own story along with other stories and quotes designed to uplift you. Thank you for subscribing and hitting the like button. It helps me a great deal. Blessings to you from your channel, Conversaciones con el cielo con Chary. See you soon. Bye, baby.